The human brain. What is the human brain? The human brain is the command center for the human nervous system. It receives signals from the body's sensory organs and outputs information to the muscles. Seems simple and pretty boring, right? Why is it something so important? Something that is so rarely consciously thought about on a daily basis. Let's get into detail. What is the human nervous system? The human nervous system is a system that conducts stimuli from the sensory receptors to the brain and spinal cord, and it conducts impulses back to the other parts of the body. What defines stimuli? Stimuli are things that provoke a response or activity, or that causes organs or tissues in the body to react in a certain way. In a study did in 2017, the CDC concluded that just 12.2% of American adults are meeting the standard for fruit, and 9.3% are meeting the standard for vegetables. On average, the report adds Americans are eating fruit once per day and vegetables 1.7 times per day. How and why did we get here? Could it be from the lack of motivation? Are we lazy? Are we unwilling to move? Or could it be something deeper in the underbelly of this huge nationwide health decline? Let's take a look at Black Wall Street. Black Wall Street, former by name of the Greenwood neighborhood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where in the early 20th century African Americans had created a self-sufficient, prosperous business district. The term Black Wall Street was used until the Tulsa race riot of 1921. The name has also been applied more generally to districts of African American high economic activity. Historically, African Americans worked mainly as servants in Tulsa, where they developed their own insular society with its own economy. Black businesses clustered on the strip of the land that would become Greenwood in 1905. When African Americans acquired the land, businesses included a grocery store and a barber shop. Doctors and real estate agents opened their own businesses. The neighborhood also had its own newspaper and schools. Black Wall Street was thriving at the time of the Tulsa race riot of 1921. The riot, however, took a heavy financial toll on African Americans. Many homes and businesses were destroyed. Moreover, following the riot, residents of Greenwood met resistance to rebuild. Nonetheless, African American professionals and entrepreneurs slowly began to rebuild. Lawyers offered legal assistance to African Americans jailed in the riots and helped them sue the city for compensation. A mass reconstruction of the district was completed in 1922, only 1 year after the riot, without the help of the greater Tulsa community. 80 businesses were opened by the end of 1922. But why was this land destroyed? Was it due to our financial and economic success? Was it due to their inability to control our doing? Was it because they needed to make sure they had say in what we read, wrote, spent, and ate? But why? Let's take a look at systematic oppression. Systematic oppression is oppression that occurs at an institutional level, such as in government policymaking, within educational institutions, and throughout our healthcare system. While one-on-one experiences of discrimination might stand out in our minds, systematic oppression is even farther reaching because it's coded right into the institutions that we depend on to survive. The human brain is important not just for functionality or motor skills, but because just like the facial bones in which we can change the structure, it's one of those few things in the body that can almost instantaneously heal and regrow itself on a cellular level. But if one is not exercising or eating the proper nutrients on a daily basis, the brain will begin to become weaker and function less and less as we age. Many mental disorders such as PTSD, anxiety, depression, and even incurable brain diseases that develop in the elderly can be prevented by a simple 20 to 30-minute exercise and a practice called mindfulness. Mindfulness is simply teaching oneself to get in the habit of becoming more aware of what you were thinking and what you were mentally entertaining. For example, you're on your way to work getting yourself in the spirit to work. But then you remember that argument that you had with your significant other the previous hour. On a chemical level, when you allow yourself to think and dwell on a negative situation, you will begin to feel your motivation and ambition for that task ahead diminish. You may start to feel tired or a bit depressed. You tell yourself, bet not one person talk to me wrong or I'm going off. You have not only allowed yourself to change what could have been a happy, upbeat, positive trip to work into something that may end up affecting your whole entire work week. Shoot, this one situation might even go down to how you speak to your children for the week, how you assess your financial or potential confrontational situations for the week. All because you allowed one thought to grow and get into the cells of your brain. When you learn to practice mindfulness, you will catch yourself when you realize you have spent one whole minute on thinking about something you cannot change. Then you will begin to train your mind to focus on a positive word or an affirmation until you are not thinking of anything. You will then, in that instant, become your own personal doctor. Now, how in the world can I become my own personal doctor? You may be asking yourself, but nah. Your brain will begin releasing hormones like oxytocin, referred to as the love hormone, serotonin, which is the hormone that regulates the body and keeps you feeling healthy and even-tempered. Lacking serotonin is one of the main reasons why we feel depression. And we will also have the release of dopamine. Dopamine is that feel-good hormone. But dopamine is that feel-good hormone that we feel when exercising, having sex, doing drugs. Doing drugs, I highly don't recommend though. But I believe the reason that we as minorities are more prone to mental disorders and diseases and less likely to practice a healthy lifestyle isn't due to our laziness and unwillingness to grow. But it is because for decades we have been held down, stripped of our confidence, stripped of our cultures, our healthy habits, our mental health, our coping skills. We have been jailed and killed and oppressed. We have been made to be slaves of clothing, trends, attention, drama, and self-hate. And it is breaking us down not just on a mental or spiritual level, but on a cellular level. If your brains are not strong and nourished, everything is affected, from our finances to our freedoms. We have to start with learning to coexist. We have to start spending more time alone reading, studying, exercising, and eating right, not just for appearance, but so that we can change the way our brains have been programmed to kill us. They wanted to create angry, temperamental savages all over the world. But if we start with combating our diets, our exercise routines, and self-destructive habits, we can win again. They want to destroy us on a cellular level so that, unlike Black Wall Street, they don't have to physically